October meeting of the Board of Education will come to order. It's October the 10th, 2023. Time is 5:30 p.m. Christine, would you lead us in the pledges of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's always running.
Needing a motion on the floor for the approval of the minutes of the Board of Education meeting on September the 19th.
Make a motion to approve.
Aaron Daniels, second that motion.
Motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Approval of the minutes for the special Board of Education meeting, September 27, 2023.
Kevin Saitani, I will approve the minutes for the Special Board of Education on September 27, 2023.
Is there a second?
Motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Unanimous.
Aaron Daniels abstaining.
Item number 2, Teacher of the Year, Myra Gagnon.
Thank you. I am honored to be asked to share the following message that I gave to my fellow teachers at the convocation with all of you. Imagine, after 34 years of teaching, looking forward to coming to work every day and never wanting to miss a day. Imagine, after 34 years of teaching, maintaining the passion and energy level to teach students year in and year out. Aren't those the words every teacher wants to say after teaching 34 years? I feel nothing but gratitude that I can honestly say those words. I ask why and how I've been able to teach for 34 years in Norwich Public Schools and still feel the same way I felt when I first started teaching. After reflecting, I realized the answer is simple. It is the personal connections and relationships that I have made here in Norwich and continue to make. Those special connections and relationships are what I am most grateful for and want to share with you tonight. Teaching gives us the opportunity to make and develop an infinite number of connections and relationships that truly shape the lives of so many, including ourselves. Since I want to reflect and share the connections and relationships in teaching I feel genuine gratitude for with you, I decided to use my gratitude jar that I've used in my classroom for years. I have to admit, I jazzed it up a bit with lights for my convocation speech. I will be adding 4 stars to my gratitude jar tonight, each representing the special connections and wonderful relationships I have developed and continue to make while teaching. On each star, I have written what I call my reflection of gratitude. Reflection of gratitude number 1, my relationships with all my students and their families. We have all had those special moments of true beauty, the small moments that show how special our relationships are. We often forget about the small but impactful moments. The melted Hershey kiss left on your desk. Your students playing school during indoor recess and one of them acts just like you teaching the class. That hug you get every day from a student as they enter the classroom. That handwritten thank you note from a parent. Appreciate and welcome those small experiences. We are so lucky to share in those moments. Those moments show the special bonds we have with our students and their families. Reflection of gratitude number 2. My relationships with my mentors and mentees. Thinking back, I have been so fortunate to have the most supportive, cooperating teachers ever. While most of you would not recognize their names, they are part of my fabric, my being. While we did not have official mentorships when I began teaching, I was fortunate to have veteran, experienced teachers who took the time to take me under their wings. I listened, I watched, and I learned. Since I was given the gift of having the best mentors ever, I became a cooperating teacher and team mentor 25 years ago to give back what I received. As I looked out into the audience, the convocation audience, so many were my student teachers and or team mentees. I'm so proud of all of them. Their excitement to begin to following their dream has been infectious. Reflection of gratitude, number 3. My relationships with all my amazing colleagues throughout the district. No matter what school community I served, no matter what district committee I was on, I was always blessed to work with the best, dedicated colleagues who always worked as a team and never put themselves first. There was always mutual respect. I was so fortunate to have worked with phenomenal level partners and to be part of an amazing instructional specialist team as well. I realize the necessity of the team concept. It is so important to plan, collaborate, and support each other. That's what makes it all possible. We need to continue to lean on each other and trust each other. Now I am part of a wonderful math specialist team that inspires me as well. I love learning beside them. Never underestimate the power of teamwork and what you can and will accomplish. I am so grateful for it. Reflection of gratitude, number 4. My Mahan family. Some are here in the audience today. There is nothing more important to me than being part of a school community. I am so grateful for everyone who makes up our Mahan family. Mahan Lions roar proudly. Our support for each other is unwavering. I look forward to working with every person at my home away from home Mahan School. I am surrounded by kind, caring, hardworking adults who always have each other's back and work toward a common goal, the best for our students. These experiences with genuine colleagues lead to lifelong bonds and lifelong friendships. We all have our own special school community. Cherish it. It is a special connection that you will always have. In closing, I invite you to embrace all of the special connections and relationships the teaching profession offers to you. That is what makes us stronger. When we bond and support each other, we can do anything. Our students can accomplish great things when we focus upon relationships above all. Take the time to build upon those special relationships. Take the time to reflect on them. And take the time to appreciate them. I promise you, what you put in your gratitude jar is what you will cherish and will be most grateful for. Those are the moments to remember and will always be part of you. Thank you, Norwich Public Schools. Thank you very much.
Next up is Tiffany Cole.
I just want to preface this a little bit. So I just wanted to showcase our partnership with our stakeholders. UCFS, I've known them for 6 years because they're based out of 3 schools and one is Stanton. So we met as a team last week, I believe, or the week before. And we thought that it would be great if she came in here and explained to everyone what they do, what the whole, in all 3 schools and how many people they see and how our students benefit, our families benefit, and it also curbs our chronic absenteeism. So thanks for coming, Tiffany. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. My name is Tiffany Cole. I am the manager of the centers that are currently located within 3 of your schools, Kelly, Stanton, and teachers. So I'm just here to kind of give you an overview of what we do and who we see. Sorry. So currently, any children enrolled in the Norwich Public School System can attend any of our school-based health centers. We do provide medical and behavioral health services at all 3 of those locations. And they are accepting new patients always. We don't close to any kids. We will never turn anybody away. Students and families can enroll through our school-based health center offices that are located within each of those schools. Also through your nurse's office at any of the schools and online as well. We do provide, for medical, we do provide physicals, vaccines, sick visits, chronic care, pretty much anything that we would see at a regular doctor's office outside of the school, we do provide. We do not take the place of any primary care providers that these children have. We kind of supplement those. You could think of it as a walk-in of sorts. It's an addition to. And we do work with those children's primary care providers as well. And really anything these kids need. We are just trying to reduce barriers, provide care while they're in school, decrease absenteeism, get the kids in school as soon as possible. If, like, say you have immigrants coming to school, we can often see them same day, really just getting them in. We also provide routine behavioral health visits during the school day as well. And if further behavioral health is needed, we do provide those connections as well and help families find resources needed. So currently, Kelly Middle School has served 96 students as of September so far this school year. We have completed 68 behavioral health visits and 81 medical visits. Stanton Elementary has served 26 students, completed 33 behavioral health visits and 12 medical visits. Teachers has served 28 students, completed 44 behavioral health visits and 12 medical visits as well. We are on track to surpass last year's numbers. A total of 195 students were served last year, 978 behavioral health visits, and 171 medical visits. Stanton and teachers' medical offices are newly staffed this year, so we do hope to service many more families. We're just here to provide gaps needed for kids, help them in any way we can.
You have a crisis team?
We have a crisis team through UCFS, not specifically with the school-based. But if there is a child having a crisis within the school, we can certainly come and assist.
Thank you.
Where does UCFS stand as far as assisting children if they want to transition?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
I'm referring to assisting with hormone replacement therapy, anything regarding gender affirmation.
So we don't have any children currently in those situations. So I can't say how we would address it going forward, but we are a doctor's office and would handle things medically as needed. We do not, sway children in any way.
I think that's one of the biggest concerns is I know that there's been instances around the state where not UCFS, I'm not labeling them, I'm just saying other schools, health-based centers, where they have started that process with the student and not communicated to the parent and have a parent included. So I guess we just want to make sure that what the policy is on students going to the health-based center. What exactly are the parents being informed of? Can the child go, can an 8th grader go and get a pregnancy test and not tell their parents? We want to make sure that we're keeping communication lines open for parents.
Absolutely. All communication lines are open. So children are seen often in school-based without parents present because it is, the nature of school-based and it is convenient for the parents. But parents do receive a call. They are debriefed on everything that happened in that visit. Behavioral health is a confidential thing. So they are not told exactly what happens, what your child discussed during a behavioral health visit.
Right, but they're informed that they spoke to someone.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
so they're
the
informed
that's
that
the
it
biggest
happened
concern.
Because we bill insurance. So they are informed that visits happened, what is completed. And if it is a need to know, they are informed of that as well. You know, if the child is threatening harm or anything like that, parents are absolutely included. We do not have a specific policy on transitioning at this time. We can definitely look into it. But I would say that none of our clinicians or providers would push children into any.
I'm not saying that they would, I'm not necessarily saying they would push it, I'm just wanna make sure that the parents are informed and have consent. I mean, like, me as a mom, I was afraid, my son is at NFA now, they have a school health center. I'm afraid to sign the paperwork for him to get checked out. I'd rather him miss school and wait till I can get in the doctors because of things I've heard around the state and around the nation where parents have just been excommunicated from things. And I just want to make sure that we're keeping transparency open because I think a school health-based center is a great idea. It's definitely going to help with chronic absenteeism and stuff like that. But we just need to make sure that the parents are still in charge
Absolutely,
and informed of everything that's going on with their children when we're not there.
absolutely. We would never do anything, give any medications or anything like that without parent giving consent.
Okay,
We are
thank
not
you.
the parent, they are the parent.
That's what I want.
That's what we wanna hear.
Saying that the parent will always be informed regarding any medication that is given to the child.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
yes.
And because it concerns you when you said though that some things are still kept confidential. You'll inform the parent, yes, they visited with us, but it's up to the therapist, whoever they see, to determine, I guess, whether it's something that they should tell the parent, even if that child is a minor, they won't divulge it.
So that is routine with any behavioral health. If you take your child to somebody downtown for behavioral health services, they will practice the exact same way. So behavioral health in the nature of is a confidential service.
Yeah, but my son's been in counseling since he was 6 years old. And it's not all completely confidential. My
No.
son was never allowed to be seen with the therapist by himself. He always had to have one of his parents with him until he was 12. So I mean, like, if we have one in Stanton, there's elementary students that we need to make sure that their parents are being included in that, you know what I mean? Just,
Absolutely. So, for instance, the children who are in Stanton, elementary age children, parents are communicated with every time there is a visit happening. They are debriefed of the visit. Nothing happens without parent consent. Parents are also given the option to participate in that visit. We would never exclude a parent.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Paulson.
Are you in addition to the school nurse,
In addition to what?
to the school nurse? Or
Yes.
take the place of the school nurse?
We do not take the place of any school nurse. So the school nurse still provides services for that entire school. We only provide services to the children who are enrolled in school-based health center.
Will they refer to the nurse, sometimes refer the students to you?
Absolutely. So we work very closely with the school nurses. So if a child is sick, they will get sent down to the school nurse regardless of if they see us. And then the school nurse can call us and say, hey, we have Joseph, is he enrolled? And we can absolutely see that child for anything that's needed. And again, we would communicate that with the parent before providing services.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Tiffany, thank you for coming this evening to have your presentation presented to the Board of Education.
Sure.
Just so the general public has knowledge of UCFS, can you explain how UCFS helps to reduce student absenteeism? And also, you mentioned helping families who are immigrants, how would that organization help out with that aspect?
Yes. So I'm specifically speaking for the school-based health center, not UCFS as a whole.
Okay.
For the school-based health center, for example, immigrants, if a child comes to the school and they just moved to the area and they cannot get a visit anywhere else in Connecticut because they're very behind in visits, most of them. It takes months to get in with a doctor. We can often see that child same day to give them that physical, any vaccines that are needed, and then they can enroll at school immediately. So we're kind of reducing that barrier. I'm sorry, what was the first part?
Reducing student absenteeism.
Absolutely. So oftentimes children are out of school for various things, you know, stomach aches, anything really. You have children who don't want to attend school for even anxiety, things like that. We can get that child in, we can see that child when they would be waiting outside visits, often for months or weeks, for even a sick visit most of the time. We can get that child in same day for a sick visit, address any concerns that they have, and they can return to school.
Thank you.
I just had one question for you and then I think one for you. Are the school-based health centers on-site or is it off-site? Is it located at the UCF?
Ours are
Office?
located at Kelly, Stanton, and Teachers.
Okay, so it's on-site, okay. And then my next question, and I think aligns with what you were saying in terms of like the nurses. If the nurses are at capacity, what does the communication looks like if the parents really need to get a physical for a child? How are we communicating
The
with the
nurse will
school?
communicate with the UCFS to see if they can get them in there right away so that they can attend school.
Okay, so that's not on the parent really to do that, the nurses will.
The nurse will
Okay.
do that, yep.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
The Catholic schools, are they covered as well?
No, these services are currently only for the Norwich Public Schools. And we do have other sites within Connecticut, for instance, NFA is ours as well. But they are not for the Catholic schools at this time.
But Catholic schools should have a school nurse, correct?
They do, yes.
They do.
Can you explain how the insurance end works for people who don't know?
Yes, so everybody has or does not have health insurance. We will see children who do not have as well. We work with them to obtain insurance and use sliding scale, just like any other community health center does. When you go to your doctor's office and you have a physical, they will bill your insurance. We will do the exact same thing.
I know, I benefited from it when my kids were at Kelly, especially if they just had a sprained thumb from a sport and
Yeah,
you could have a follow-up instead of having, it was so helpful. It was very
absolutely.
helpful.
I just have one more question. Is it for all of Norwich students or currently right now only for students at those 3 schools?
We will
Or
see
if
all.
you would see all, so if you had a student from Moriarty who needed an appointment, I could call over there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we don't have offices in other schools such as Moriarty. But those children are absolutely welcome to come to any of these 3 locations. Parent transportation unfortunately would be required at that time.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, and with the new school building project, do you plan to expand to all the new schools or not?
Not at this time, unfortunately. We do just need to keep the 3 locations.
Just 3, okay, because you have staffing issues also.
As anywhere does, unfortunately.
Do you think we're doing an efficient enough job of getting the word out there regarding the existence of UCFS? Because I know, like you said, you saw people go, what's that? And I know that you have things online, but I think, did they send home pamphlets first day of school?
Yeah, so there's been many communications sent out. We're really working harder to get those communications out. I think that is going to improve in the future. And we also work closely with school nurses. They send out enrollments, things like that. But medical, as I said, is new to Kelly, not Kelly, I'm sorry, to Stanton and Teachers this year is fully staffed. So we're really trying to get that word out to bring the kids in.
And it's bilingual, I assume, any information that's sent out.
Absolutely.
Of course, we have numerous languages, but that covers most of them. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Thank you, Tracy. Tiffany.
Thank you.
Okay, I would just like to leave you with a few of our pamphlets and little giveaway items as well. Come on, team. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Appreciate it.
Report of the superintendent.
Okay. I'll start with the recognition awards. So I was able to go to a Quantic school last week for the Key is Me Teacher Award. And I'll read some of the things that we're told about grade 4 teacher Trish Averso. I nominate Trish Averso, 4th grade at Waquanic Elementary School. I am a 6th-year teacher that just moved to Connecticut from California. Although it is not my first year as a teacher, it feels like it due to being in a new state and a new school with new staff members and a new curriculum. She has extended every and any support she can find and is such an incredible colleague to have during this transition to NPS. She is wise, patient, compassionate, and caring. She does her job with enthusiasm and is a wonderful role model to our students. Although I am new, she has made me feel welcome and empowered. Thank you, Trish. For the I Make a Difference support. For the I Make a Difference Support Staff Award recipient, it goes to Melissa Niles at Veterans School. She's an administrative assistant there. Melissa goes above and beyond for Veterans School and still continues to support preschool in their transition to the elementary school. She is patient, kind, and always willing to help others. As an administrative assistant, she does her job and goes beyond her job expectations to make vets all it can be. I see her having constant positive interactions with families, students, and staff. Students in the building go to her daily just to say hi or chat when they need help or are upset. She is most deserving of this award. Congratulations, Melissa. And then the last is You Inspire Me. Elijah Briggs at Kelly Steen Magnet School, 8th grade student. I have watched her make some amazing changes and choices for the better. She has inspired others around her to be more of a model student as well. Through some tough life struggles, she still shows up every day with a smile. I have watched the student grow since 6th grade. The amount this student has grown as a young woman is absolutely incredible. I have watched her conquer many obstacles in 3 years and overcome them. She has big ambitions in life, and even through the hard times, she comes out on top. She is a big inspiration to other people who have had struggles, and she shows them that they can overcome problems with a positive mentality. I am proud of her and can't wait to see what she can do in the future. Congratulations, Elijah. Okay, just go over a few vacancies for the certified staff. I know that you're usually interested in this. Global Middle School, grade 8 math teacher, Huntington, grade 5 teacher, Moriarty Library, Stanton Library, and a district special education teacher. I want to touch a little bit about the adult education. A board member came to me and saying that there are community members coming to her talking about how we have ESOL English for speakers of other languages, how there's a wait list. And so I did check into it, and I think it's important for everyone to know that we have 135 morning students, 60 evening students enrolled, with more being added. We have over 200 on the waiting list right now. I think when I talked, it was 165 just a few weeks ago. So it's growing. So one of our main goals moving forward is to see how we can create more classes potentially in the afternoons at our main site. So we are working on that, and I will have some more details to follow up with that. For the UCFS school-based health center visits, we had Tiffany touch on that. I did want to also just put out there, in case people are not aware, that we have a new public act. It's called Section 1 of Public Act 23-208. Section 1 states that children will need to turn 5 on or before September 1st of the school year in order to be automatically eligible to enroll in school. So that's going to be a big change. The legislation also allows a school district to admit a child who has not turned 5 by September 1st of the school year if the parent makes a request in writing and the school district conducts an assessment of the child to ensure the admitting such child is developmentally appropriate. So I just want to put that out there right now real quick. I just want to say that it's going to affect our pre-K numbers. It's for the 24, 25 and our kindergarten numbers. So we are having discussions around that.
It just seemed slightly vague. When you say 5 to start kindergarten, 5 to start pre, what's the
5 to start kindergarten.
All right,
Yes.
that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
So more on that to come, but I just wanted to put that out there that we're gonna have to start looking at that, and it's gonna put kids in pre-K longer, and it might change our numbers 1 year, and then we have to worry about the following year.
It's changed. It's been going since I was 55 years ago when I started. The number moves all the time. Yes, it does.
And Susan, yeah, because we were made aware of that a while back, but I think for the new buildings too. I think they're aware of that because it was brought up.
We have talked about it,
School,
but I just
right.
want to make sure
No,
everybody
yeah,
knows
no,
about
I'm
that
just
moving
Like, you
forward.
know that they knew, but you
Yeah.
already know, so. All righty.
So they have to be 5 by the time school starts
Yes.
before.
September
September
1st.
1st,
Yes.
okay.
That's it? Thank you. How'd the first month go?
Great.
Well, moving on. This when you thought it was safe to retire. Back by popular demand, out of the bullpen, Jamie Bender, our Assistant Superintendent.
Well, I do want to say that, my first week returning to the district, you already know this, but you have a very dedicated and talented staff that have been welcomed back with open arms and had some really rich, insightful conversations about how to continue to make Norwich Public Schools a better place for our children to be educated. And after meeting with various people and everyone kind of asking like, how's it going? How are you, and I genuinely say like, my feeling is like true exhilaration. I am really happy to be here and, looking forward to the work that I'll do over the next couple of months. So there are absolutely things that need my attention. I've already come across, and I can say without a doubt that with the staff behind me and the rest of the admin team, that will support your mission as a Board of Education. So you have a report with all the different various academic updates and department updates. I'm not going to go through those because you can read those, but I do want to kind of let you know like where my focus has been over this past week. First, it's been conducting department updates. Like I need to know where people have been with their curricular components, things that have been priority, and things that they need me to help them with. I had so that will be ongoing with the different sub-departments. You can see how many there are by the reports. But I was able to meet with the science coordinator today. And we do have some work to do with the elementary school science area, which I'll be addressing immediately. And I was able to meet with the curriculum council, which is comprised of various teachers and administrators, curriculum staff, coaches, reading specialists. And my focus was really to get some updates and learn about what their path is. But I mainly wanted to hear, where they, what is it about Norwich that they love about hearing Myra tonight, it was the same. It's the same as I felt. They care about each other. They care about the students, and that rang through our entire meeting. I ended by asking them what they need from me, because I think it's important that they hear, they need things from me as much as I need things from them. So that was really eye-opening, and I'm glad that they were vulnerable enough to share that with me as a kind of a newcomer coming in, sort of. So that was great. I've also been trying to keep track of pre-K. I know that we've had some changes since I left, and currently, as far as I know, the last update I received, we have about 184 pre-K students right now. We have a list that are currently being processed for next steps on getting them enrolled. We're continuing to work on transportation challenges, but I'm confident that we'll address those and have resolution in that area as well. I also attended a meeting. I wasn't quite sure what it was. It happens when things pop up in your calendar and you've been away for a while. But I attended it and I wasn't sure what it was. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to see what it's all about. It was held at Norwich Academy. It was the New Capacity Steering Committee. It was comprised of a group of stakeholders in Norwich that are really dedicated and have been dedicated for several years on trying to better situations for our families that need greater financial stability. There are all kinds of components that go along with that. And our school district is definitely component to that. So there'll be more on that. It was my first meeting but working with a lot of great people once again. Various grants have been also at the top of my list. I've noticed that some are needing revisions. I have some staff members that are really helping to keep me on top of what needs to be changed, revised, submitted, reviewing the budgets and all of those, and the intentions of those budgets has been something that I've been focusing heavily on. Susan and I were fortunate to meet with Marge Hughes, who's the State Department of Ed consultant, who is helping us through the turnaround network grants that we'll be applying for, and for our middle schools, as well as a school improvement grant. You'll be hearing more about both of those, but I think Susan will agree that that meeting was very productive. I think we had to do some work on reinstilling the confidence in our efforts because there has been some changes, but I think at the end of that meeting, they're confident that we're able to move forward through these next parts of the grants cycle. And I look forward to working with our middle school people and team and to develop that plan. And we're also preparing for our first State Department monitoring meeting, which goes along with the Alliance funding, where we meet with state officials as a team to talk about our initiatives, how we're spending the money, the outcomes that we expect to have with the use of that money. And our first beginning of the year meeting will take place on November 9th. Our paperwork is due next week, so lots of work to do. So that's what I've been up to this past week. Any questions for me?
I just had one, I believe I had put this to Susan, regarding busing. That is under you, right, Jamie, the transportation?
It's under Bob.
No,
No, that's what I'm looking, that's what I'm trying to find now, I can't remember, because I'm not used to seeing you. Okay, it was the question that you had brought, that I think that's what you were referring to a moment ago. I
Can't remember. We were talking about two different things. So I
Right,
couldn't
the
remember which
busing
one.
for all the students that are going, I was a rumor, but no, it was directly from a parent too. That kids weren't receiving busing, that had been moved from Huntington to Moriarty because of the pre-K changes. And that there's a huge line of buses outside the school and going around, well, not just buses, of course, parents dropping off. And that she had heard that some kids weren't receiving transportation.
So all kids in pre-K, if they are enrolled, are receiving transportation. We have had a few hiccups, and Jamie and I and Bob have been working on that with transportation. So I think maybe from that email, I think everything's been fixed from that, but we are regularly fixing some busing. But we were hoping to put this behind us in the next couple of weeks.
That's what I explained to this person that I know from my own history of working in a school, the first 2 to 3 weeks. You know,
It can be tricky. Yep.
Yeah.
Bob, and
Yeah,
Bob can
just
speak
to
more.
dovetail on that, Maria, our transportation director, and I met with the regional manager for our bus company to go over the issues we've had and what they were doing to rectify those problems and want an action plan. And we'll give them a chance to put those in play, and we'll meet again with them in a month to see where they stand. So we met with them this morning at, I think, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, the question Heather had.
He has there's a summary, I guess, of what the transportation director was saying to us, yeah.
We've had
But-
issues and.
Yeah, there's a
Did
lot of
that
issues,
same
but it was
side-
really, really relieving to see that, to read that, and I was like, okay, at least I don't have
Yeah,
to
we-
go in there like a
I
crazy.
told Maria, tell it like it is.
Yeah. Did that same side of the street thing get straightened out? Are the kids being picked
No,
up?
no.
No, that's a policy that because of the danger to students
Right,
with cars passing the stop buses, they will not allow them to cross the street. They have to pick them up
now
on the
they're
same
not
side.
at all then.
That will not change, that's a safety
Okay, and
issue.
everyone knows, because that was part of the issue about parents.
They won't let me, if I walk across the street, they won't let him get on, his stop is this side of the road.
Okay.
Like, I don't understand why they won't let me cross the street
They won't let you
with
cross the
me.
street either, okay.
No, they said I'm not.
It was explained to us
able do that.
because of safety reasons, because numerous occasions, especially on one of these streets in particular, the cars disregard the bus thing and.
Okay, that part I understand, but I'm saying, before the bus gets there the first time, if she walks across the street, could she put him on the bus? And she's saying, no, she can't because he is assigned on her side of the street.
You know, but in the defense, if you cross the street across the street from my son's bus stop is not a safe spot. There's not a
Understand.
sidewalk
Okay.
or anything like that. So that's why I didn't pursue it further, but there are other students who parents do not understand why they have to wait
With the
the
particular
25 minutes for the
individual
turnaround.
trips, we can talk about it outside.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Anything else? Public comment?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You missed.
How about report of the Director of Student Services?
Skipped right over me.
Skip right over Bob too.
I'll go home.
So you do have my report with a couple of updates that typically put in here with our out-of-district monthly report. We're still holding at 122 and hope to decrease that number as we go along this school year. There's the homeschooling report for you to take a look at, and I like to put in every now and again our disability categories, so you get to see the distribution in the district. And our most popular categories are autism spectrum, speech and language impairment, and our specific learning disability. Some of the categories that students are eligible under are not represented because they're very small groups. So things like visual impairment, hearing impairment, and we do have a new teacher of the hearing impaired, and she's wonderful. We're really fortunate to have found her. It's like finding a unicorn in special ed personnel, so it was wonderful. She's been great. In addition to that, in the report, I do put some information about our inclusion institutes. I'm sure you'll remember from last year was a new initiative that we started. And this year, I'm happy to tell you that we've already held 3 of them in one day at Mahan. So it was an Inclusion Institute day. And based on some of the research I did last year in terms of how teachers felt about it and what families were saying, there was a lot of positive comments made about it. But in about 63 to 65% of the time, we were able to add a full hour or more of meaningful inclusive opportunities to particular students' schedules. And that's significant and really wonderful to see the teams come together and talk with families. We had a family that brought extended family. It was really awesome. So I'd like to thank Mahan and that school-based team for being the first ones out of the gate. But we also have them, I think Stanton is up next. And I just included that research for you to get a sense of what it looked like, what individuals who participated said. And lastly, I'd just like to thank the paraeducators who are engaging in kind of a homegrown professional development. We're calling it the Paraeducator Learning Academy, and their modules based on the requirements of 18 contact hours, in professional development topics. So we have things like trauma-informed practices, working with students with disabilities, or working in the classroom. So they're engaging in that work as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Sorry, I'm just a little confused. Like, on your placement list, for example, like, why would we have kids at Norwich Country School? Like, what would the reasons be? Is it behavioral issues or juvenile delinquency kind of thing, or?
Yeah, so that would be based on their specific and unique needs. And typically it is maybe an emotional disability that would require a more therapeutic approach than we're able to provide in district.
Thank you.
I'm just amazed at that list. I mean, you've got 34, 35 different locations scattered, sprinkled throughout the state. I mean, some are down, you know, in Fairfield County, Litchfield. So that it's amazing that we have to spread out those 122 kids all across the state. I mean, just the logistics of transporting is a nightmare, never mind finding the correct placement for all of these children. So kudos to that.
And to your point, placements are challenging because staffing in those placements and therapeutic placements are even more challenging than some of the public schools. So they've really had, you know, to close classrooms and condense services. So it is, you know, we have a wonderful liaisons that work specifically with those schools and families. And so it's really their work that's gotten us in a good place.
This is also a sliding scale as well.
Correct.
Today or tomorrow, we can get, you know, 3 or 4 that all need special needs and have to take them to their facilities.
Yes,
If
yes.
we can't, if we don't have the ability to tend to their needs.
And the other end of that, we have students who may be ready to come back to district and building that bridge from the therapeutic placement back into district. What does that look like? What will the student need? So we're hoping to have more on that end than the opposite.
Thank you, Lisa. Anybody else?
Thank you, Lisa.
Bob?
Good evening. I have 3 topics I'm gonna focus on tonight. I'm gonna start with, I guess I'd call a good story for some of our employees. Then I have some budget updates that are not in your packet that I received today, and that's the not so good news. And then I'm gonna finish with a food service update and take questions. The first segment's related to 3 programs from which a certain segment of our workforce benefited. I don't like to editorialize or voice an opinion, but I will on this case because I'm sure you might have some of the same thoughts and ask questions. I feel really happy for the people who received some of these programs and monetary support. It's well-deserved and I'm happy for them, but on the other hand, it excludes a lot of our employees who work just as hard. This was something done by the legislative body and it was the legislative process and it's the way it is. And when I explain the programs, you'll know what I'm talking about. So the first one came from, was sponsored by the governor's office and it was funneled through the Office of Early Child Care. It was entitled the OEC Wage Support Program. And Governor Lamont allocated $70 million, I believe, to be distributed to individuals who worked in early child care. It was geared mostly towards the private sector, but it included public schools who received school readiness funding. So because we received school readiness funding, we qualified. It was for full and part-time employees who worked and supported the program as of the application date. So it didn't matter if you worked 2 or 3 years before and transferred out. It didn't matter if you worked for 3 weeks because you were a new hire. If you were enrolled on the application date, you received the wage support. So we had 54 full-time eligible employees who qualified and 1 part-time employee. It included all disciplines, teachers, paras, custodians, food service workers, BCBAs. If you worked in the program 30 hours a week or more, then you qualified. Earnings were capped at $100,000. So if you earned more than $100,000, you were not going to receive anything. Full-time employees received $2,125, and the 1 part-time employee received $812.50. Payments were distributed to the staff on August 24th, the last payroll of August. Our total grant award that we received was $123,826.25. The district did receive a payment of 18% that was included in there, and that was to cover FICA expenses and administrative costs. So those payments went out and those employees were well deserving. But as I said we had more than 54 people in this district who worked really hard. So if you have any questions about that program, I'd be glad to take them.
So as usual, something was given without strong parameters and follow-up. I mean,
Well, they had very
not you.
specific parameters. It
No,
was-
but I mean, you said they could have quit. They could not, it's possible that some of these people aren't even in the field anymore, but if they
No, I mean,
were.
this week, the Norwich Public School employees who were employed on the date of our application
Right.
in the school readiness program who met the requirements received a bonus. So if you, for instance, had worked in school readiness for 5 years and transferred to a hand to be a first grade teacher or a kindergarten teacher, you did not qualify. If I was a new hire who took your place and I started 2 weeks before the application was submitted, I received the payment. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. So
That's what I mean by.
that's just the
That's
way
what
it
I mean.
is. So we did not make the rules.
No, that's what I'm
We
saying.
had to follow them, and I just wanted to, it's a great thing for all the employees, because
Yeah, it is great, but
they work very hard and are well deserving of it. Okay,
thanks, Bob.
the next one is a relatively new program, and this assistance program was for the benefit of paraeducators. In the past legislative session, our state government allocated $5 million for this school year and $5 million for next school year for financial assistance to paraeducators. They do not know yet how they're gonna spend the money next year, but for this year, they decided that paraeducators who are enrolled in a HSA high deductible health insurance plan could use some assistance with the deductible. So we received $55,538.71, was driven by a formula. Because it was based on the employees we had on September 7th who were enrolled in the HSA. So if you were enrolled with single coverage, you received $881.57 towards your deductible. And someone with family or dual coverage received $1,763.13. We were directed by the state to deposit it into their HSA account by October 1st. So, as I said, that totaled $5 million. They split it up amongst all the districts. Why paraprofessionals with an HSA? Why not paraprofessionals with a PPO? Why not custodians? Why not instructional administrator? I have no idea. This was our legislative, and I feel good for the paraprofessionals. And I'm sure it's very welcome. But again, we didn't make the rules. And that was distributed by October 1st to those who have HSA accounts. Any questions on that one? Okay, the next one's a whole lot easier, and it's a smaller amount of money. As you might recall from previous board meetings, there was a new state IEP platform that was implemented called CT SEDS. The district received a grant in the amount of $21,000 to implement the program. So we had a total of 81 individuals within the special ed department who underwent the training and instruction on how to use the system. So in the last payroll, each person lists provided by special ed received a stipend of $243.33. That was simply taking the salary budget that we had in that grant, dividing it by 81. So that was easy. So are we okay with, I guess, employee stipends and financial payments? Okay. As you know, October 1st is when we start to get our tuition bills in, and tuition is now the single largest item in our budget. Today I received the tuition bills from NFA for the 7 SPED/specialty programs. Now in total dollars, that's $7,550,216, or 8.5% of our budget, so it's a big number. We had budgeted a total of 264 students within those 7 different programs. And the good news is we're being billed for 264 students. Bad news, the mix has changed within the programs. So we have a few fewer students in this program and more in that program. And some of the more programs are in, it's probably the second highest cost program. So the net impact of all of this is, right now, we have a deficit in that budget line item of $130,681. I will say that's subject to change because NFA bills us as of the enrollment on October 1st. Then they revisit it again on February 1st. So if there are subtractions or additions, the bill will be adjusted upward or downward from February through the end of the year. So that's 131,000 in round numbers that we did not plan on spending. Then the second negative budget news involves our legislative change to the educate to age 22 through the end of the year as opposed to their birthday. That's going to impact us in a couple ways. I don't think I brought it with me, but I know by the top of my head. Oh, here it is. The district had budgeted 200 and round numbers, $217,000 for those students up until their 22nd birthday. To carry them out all the way to the end of the school year, based on the programs they're in now, and one is subject to change, so this is an estimate. It's going to cost $585,538. Some of those students will cross the threshold for excess costs, so provided the state's able to reimburse us at 91%, we'll recoup a little over $56,000. So the net impact of that is $313,000 increase or unbudgeted expenses. So take the 313 and 130, and that's $440,000 hole we have to find a way to fill with surpluses or whatever mechanism we have to do between now and the end of the year. Questions?
1 month in, we're $500,000 in the hole.
For two accounts. And I guess the big nut is this unbudgeted special ed piece. Well, it's all special ed, the whole thing. So as we get the rest of the tuition bills and we receive our transportation expenses and things like that, hopefully we'll find ways to offset that during the school year. Any other questions on that item? Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
We have a food service update. I was gonna go.
Done.
Sorry.
September was the start of a new business. Basically, that's what Chartwell's is doing. They're coming in not knowing much about the school district. It's like opening up a new restaurant. So September had 18 serving days, which represented 10% of the school year. So we have 90% left, a long way to go. We have new staff, new menus, adjustments will be made as they learn more. The staff needs to learn the students need to learn the menu and the food program. Overall, I would characterize the opening as going well. If I look at the total numbers, and it's measured not by the number of meals served, but by the percent of utilization, because enrollments change by school and they change overall. Lunch participation is up slightly and breakfast participation is down slightly. So overall, one would think that's a pretty good thing. But if you watch ESPN, I do a lot, you probably heard Chris Berman say we got to go inside the numbers to see what's going on. So we're going to do that a little bit. I will say that hot suppers will start to be served here on Wednesday nights. In our previous program, we did them 2 nights a week. Staffing was a big problem to do that. We're going to try 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we will be serving hot suppers in the after-school programs at all 9 of our schools, and that will start on Wednesday. The menu is attached in your packet, so you can look at it and see what will be served. In case you didn't know it, we also serve meals at Sacred Heart, lunch and breakfast. Breakfast is new this year. Wildwood Christian Academy and the Joshua Center up in Norwich Town. And we do build the Joshua Center separately. It doesn't go through the National School Lunch Program. But Sacred Heart and Wildwood Academy are part of our free and reduced program. For discussion purposes, I've eliminated the numbers of meals for Sacred Heart and Wildwood, so I don't want to mix the apples and oranges. So if I look, as I said, lunches went up slightly, utilization is up 71.7% compared to 70.9%. So that's less than 1% increase. So we didn't lose anything there. On the breakfast side, we've gone from 49.6% down to 47, so that's a like 2.5% drop. We're gonna focus on that to see why. One issue could be related to buses. Buses have been late, so
You've done
if
getting there
you're
for
late,
breakfast.
you're not gonna get in time to get breakfast, or you might skip it altogether. Another issue is with new staff and students has been with PIN numbers in the computer system, so we think those have been rectified. So we'll be monitoring this every month, because we wanna know where we are and where we're going. But if I look at the breakdown between the middle schools and elementary schools, there's been a significant change at the middle schools, especially between Kelly and Global. If I combine the two schools together, the lunch participation rate has gone from 73.5% up to 83.4%. And I've been in the middle schools and I've seen it quite busy. On the breakfast side, particularly at Global, they were serving 98 breakfasts a day, now it's up to 171. And I've gone to the school, and I think Greg Bellassi, when I asked him, he said the breakfast line is from here to Basra, so it's long. So that's a great news on the middle school side, but we have some work to do on the elementary school side. I'll get that in a minute. If I look at the elementary school, and if you look at that chart on your own, please remember that Bishop was a standalone site. Those students now are mixed within the schools, so that will change the enrollment numbers, which again change those things. And there are more of the preschool students at Moriarty than the other schools, so you'll see there's a big increase there. But utilization at Moriarty has stayed pretty much the same, 75.7 to 75.10. It's gone up at Uncas, and it's gone up at Waquanic. Huntington is not too much different, down by 2%, but there are three schools that show what I consider a higher than normal decrease. We talked to one of the principals and he said it's busier than ever, so I don't know if that's an issue with PIN numbers or something. For September, Nizam, the director, has been based in this school, and Edwin has been based at Global. What they will be doing in October is going out to each of the schools to see how the operations are going. I've been in the kitchens and these places are hustling. It's the food service work is, in any school in general, it's a hard job and they work really hard. And it's a very busy place if you ever step in a lunchroom thing. So we'll be focusing on those elementary schools in October to see if it really is down. It can't be the menu necessarily because cold cereal is offered every day. And that's what the menu was before. So it's not that they're not eating breakfast because they don't want a hot breakfast. So we have to look at and see why at the individual schools, especially those three, the overall utilization rate is down slightly. So we'll update you each month, and if you have any specific concerns, you can just let me know or email me.
I just have a little question. Were there some staffing, or not staffing, stock issues
No.
with the kitchens? Because
Sometimes what happens,
their
and I'll
menus
give you an
weren't the
example. You put something on the menu, because we have a lot of new menu items that were not offered before. And I'll say like a smoothie or a parfait for breakfast. So you don't know how many to make. It hasn't been served before, and they don't want to waste food, so they make 100. They put them out at Global or Kelly and poof, they're gone. Okay, so tomorrow we'll make 120, or the next time we do, and poof, they're gone. So you have to
No,
adjust.
yeah,
like
no,
that.
I understand that. It's just that the elementary school at Moriarty, I've talked to numerous parents and children who were there were some little girls that were really, really excited about some of the food menu options. And when they got to school, they have yet gotten one of those menu options.
Well,
Like it says it's on the menu. We need to make sure that the menus are accurate.
the only
because-
time I would know they've run out is when the demand was far greater. And some of the things that are surprising where, I think it was at Laquanic, they served, chicken curry. And you asked me if that would be a popular choice. I wouldn't think it would be. But the food service lead person over there called and said the kids loved it. So it's a learning process. I know the chicken teriyaki they tried was very popular, and they try certain things at different schools. They're gonna make adjustments. But we'll work on that, and I'll. bring
No,
it to
yeah,
some-
like I said, I mean, I was just didn't know if they were experiencing some of the same stocking issues that a lot of the restaurants have. Sometimes we just don't
It's,
have.
it's
our
like if
stuff.
you offer a prime rib special on a Friday night and the restaurant opens at 5:30, you get there at 8:30, they're on a prime rib. And I've seen that happen here.
Well, then maybe we could put on the menu, limited availability or something,
we don't-
because, I mean, this little girl's been to school for a whole month
Yeah,
and she hasn't gotten
You
one
know,
item
which school
that's
was
on
that? It's on
Moriarty.
Moriarty. We don't wanna put.
And that's just
limited quantities.
heartbreaking to hear a 10-year-old tell me that she was excited for Chartwell's and all the new menus. She got so excited, like that's why she went to school.
I mean,
She was
Zom
excited for
tried
lunch.
offering watermelon here, and he tried 9 watermelons and he put it out. He had to pull it off immediately because the kids went out of control for watermelon. But, you know, I don't know why that turns out to be such a popular thing, and we've had to move certain things, like opening day when you came into the school, pizza was the first option, so students were grabbing pizza until a food service worker said, you know, you can have pizza every day as a choice. We don't want you necessarily to eat pizza 5 days a week, so why don't you try the chicken jambalaya? So he did, and I was watching, and then 3 or 4 kids after him took that. So it's a learning curve for everybody. So now the pizza's on the other side, because we don't want students gravitating towards pizza every day. And, it's a learning process for everybody, and we'll make adjustments, because we want to serve what kids want, and we want it to be nutritious, and we want to feed as many kids as possible. So I don't think we necessarily want to limit an item. If kids like it, we want everybody to like it, or have
Right.
choices.
'Cause I know like some of those great meals that you're talking about, I know a lot of middle schoolers would probably love that,
Yeah.
but some of your elementary kids are a little bit more picky, not quite mature enough to be trying. I know, I have
They'll
a
be visiting
9-year-old
the
who's
elementary schools,
nothing.
and we'll set up meetings with the principals and staff. They know best, and the kitchen staff knows best. You know, it's like, take this off, they don't like it. So we'll make adjustments. Any other questions?
I hope your budget for burned offerings and candles is going well, because the little nip is coming in the air, and let's hope that our boilers make it this year, right?
I always hope.
Okay.
We shouldn't have issues at 2 schools, I know.
Public comment? Anybody signed up for public comment?
No, no one signed up.
Dennis? Haven't seen you in a long time.
Well, I report to my passing have been greatly exaggerated.
Apparently so. Good to see you.
Let's see, I guess I've worked with about half of these people. And I know that you can't answer questions.
Oh, I don't have it.
What?
Hang on for a minute. I don't have that.
The blurb.
May I?
Go ahead, please.
The board welcomes public comment, as it represents an opportunity for members of the public to express their views to the board on matters within the board's authority. On behalf of the board, I wish to remind that those offering comments that consistent with our bylaws, we ask that speakers please limit their comments to 3 members, and there is a maximum of 30 minutes for each subject matter. All speakers must maintain appropriate standards of decorum. No boisterous or inappropriate conduct is committed. We expect comments to be respectful and civil in tone, and we do not permit name calling, raised voices, or vulgarity. All comments must be directed to the board and not to any individual board member or individual member of the administration. as public comment is an opportunity to convey your views to the board, but is not a question and answer session. The board and the administration will not be responding to questions or engaging with dialogue during the public comment period. The board and the administration will determine whether, when, and how to address questions that arise during the public comment period. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record. Click 3 minutes.
Are we ready now?
Yes, yes.
Dennis Slovak, 8 North Second Avenue. I sat among you folks for a while. And I'm puzzled. Since I can't ask the question for you to respond, can I ask you to raise your hand if each of you have ever sat down and had an hour conversation with our now suspended superintendent?
Can I comment on that, Dennis?
Okay,
It's an ongoing investigation.
well, I did, so. I think that many people are confused in this town because first you give the superintendent a nice healthy raise and say she was worth it. And then the next meeting, she's suspended. So what made you feel more foolish, giving her the raise or suspending her? I know you can't answer, but you do owe some kind of explanation to the public when you do something like that. And I don't know, you know, when I was here and we hired that superintendent, did it for 2 reasons. One, for her to kick butt, and the other was for her to chew gum. And she ran out of gum real soon. And I think she was doing a terrific job. But apparently nobody's gonna say exactly why you suspended her. And I think you just knuckled under to some union pressure. And I ask you to reconsider what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public comment? Sheila?
Good evening, Sheila Hayes, 382 Laurel Health Avenue. I just want to just make a couple of comments. Number one, this past week, Jamie and I were in the same meeting with United Way under the Alice report. And there were several areas that I know Jamie's going to be looking into and probably talking to Board of Education members as well as the interim superintendent. That came up. I don't know if you saw the New London Day report of what it's taking. 1/3 of the families are living below the Alice threshold in southeastern Connecticut or eastern Connecticut. That should be alarming. So these are working class families. These are not people below the poverty level. These are working class families, and where they are at and the impact that is going to have on just basic needs, which is going to impact education. Let's just be honest. That should be alarming and concerning in that, I look forward under Jamie's guidance to work with the rest of the collaboration through the United Way to help address some and mitigate some of the issues that we are going to see be impacted this year. On another note, I had a very good conversation, I believe, today with the interim superintendent that was appointed. I, for one, and I say this here, I can't look backwards. We have to look at where we're at today with the staff and the administration you have. We have strong community collaboration. in this city. And we've always wanted to be a part of the solution, what it takes to make Norwich Public Schools and the educational opportunities. We want to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. And so I look forward to, under this administration, under the Board of Education's leadership, that we do this together, okay? Not in silos and not being isolated, but if we're going to address the real issues, the mental health issues, the behavioral health issues, just the academic quality of education for our Norwich Public Schools students, regardless of where they're attending school. We need to do it as a collaborative and together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment?
I know I won't get the introduction, so I'll give it myself. Just Clay, 321 Old Canterbury Turnpike. I just wanted to welcome Jamie Bender back. It's so nice to see her back out of retirement, helping us move forward in a positive manner. And I just wanted to give a message to you guys that I would hope that is already happening, but I hope that everybody has received information on how reports can be made to your investigator that's doing this investigation. I heard there might have been some miscommunication with that, and I just want to make sure that all of the people on the board are in contact, all the teachers are in contact that need to be, and I'm just here to make sure that these wonderful educators stay. And I just want to make a blanket statement that I just really hope this investigation is going to shed the true light on all of the allegations that have been said about the superintendent. And if you really care about the people that are educating our children, your decision either way is going to be very prevalent to them after this is concluded. So that's it.
Thank you, Jess.
Anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Closed. Reports by the chairperson. We are 5 weeks into our opening of the school year, but prior to, there were a lot of barbecues and get-togethers that were put on by many of the schools this year. And I believe that there is a slideshow that is, can we put up, please?
Yeah.
Or not?
I don't have it.
No.
Yes, Joe, we
Sound like
sent
my
it to
11-year-old.
you. He does.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
He just doesn't know.
It was just like 4 photos, I think she sent.
That's not a picture.
It's got
It's like a,
We're gonna follow.
I don't know, a silo, looking down a silo.
There is another shot, right?
I don't know.
Connected to your laptop.
The flowers.
No, I think it was the third.
Well, there was a slideshow of assorted pictures from the barbecues and the get-togethers prior to the opening of school. It was very well attended by the public. And there we
Here
go.
we go.
Thank you.
These are quite important to attend as parents, as teachers, as community members. Because it gives the sense of what the school has intended for your child, what the school has intended for the community. And it also gives the child itself a little look at the school itself and what they're going to experience for the next several years or 3 years if it was middle school. So as you can see, and ice cream trucks, really, that's easy. We can have those every day, can we? Huh? Ice cream trucks?
We didn't put it in the budget.
We didn't?
No.
Well, we can. We just take something else out.
If I might say something, I really wanted to give a shout out to everyone that helped organize these events. I was able to attend a few of them and it was just awesome. And also to all the public vendors, like the people that volunteered, came in and did the haircuts. That was very interesting, seeing how our kids reacted to that. And it was just wonderful to see, absolutely wonderful. And I realize it takes a lot of time to coordinate and a lot of people helping. It was wonderful.
I'd just like to add, if I could, that this was one of the first events that our new food service company had to do. They did cater some of these events and they didn't know what to expect. And I think at Moriarty, they served over 500 people, and at Mahan, over 450. They didn't run out of food. It was,
Of course,
it
the
was
place I
a,
didn't go to.
the crowd was unbelievable at those two schools.
There wasn't any rainouts on any of them, were there?
No, we lucked out.
Yeah.
We lucked out.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to new business. You have two policies for first read. Policy number 9124 and policy 6172.41. This is first read. These will come up under unfinished business as action items at the November meeting.
Can I just quickly
Yes, you
ask a
can.
question about that? Just the first policy, can I get an understanding as to why this is being proposed for deletion? Because it's saying that as a board, we can retain outside counsel.
Say that one more time.
The policy itself reads pursuant to the resolution adopted by the council of the city of Norwich at a meeting held on November 13, 1984, the Board of Education is authorized to retain outside counsel when it deems necessary to represent the board in employee contract negotiation, and other things. So I'm wondering why this is being proposed for deletion.
It's a duplication of the current policy that we have in place.
Okay, thank you.
It's also, currently in the policy committee meeting minutes. It's references to the city charter. It's a resolution in the charter, so it's redundant to have it twice is what
Okay,
the attorneys were stating.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Unfinished business. Need a motion for the floor for action item number 8.1, discussion and possible action regarding policy 9000, role of the board and its members. Kevin?
Chairman Sitani, I motion to approve the updates to policy number 9000.
Now we can discuss it, right?
Second?
Mary, I'll second that.
Okay, great. Discussion.
Part of it, it mentions about, the closure of facilities or movements, whatever. that we make that determination. And when the central office was closed, I don't recall us being advised of that when it was moved. So I'm just questioning that now, unless I missed something, but I don't recall that being said, yes, once we decide to close close preschool, that central office could move there.
That was one of the options that
That's part of that.
That was part of that whole thing.
Yeah, it's like a
But
package.
did we ever actually say, yes, that can happen?
Yes.
Yes. That was part of the motion.
That was part of it.
Okay, that's why I'm asking, because I
But
don't
that's
recall that.
regard, and that's a great question, but it's not part of what we're talking about.
Oh, that's in there though, so that's why I want
No,
to
I'm
make
glad it
sure I'm
came up,
clear on
and
what
yes.
can be done. Okay.
any other further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Discussion and possible action regarding policy 9121, official duties of the chairperson.
Aaron Daniel, motion to approve the update to policy 9121.
Kevin Satani, I will second that motion.
Okay. Motion on the floor and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action regarding policy 9122, official duties of the secretary.
Mark Kulos, I make a motion that we approve policy 9122.
Need a second?
Kevin Satani, I will second the motion.
Motion on the floor and a second. Any discussion?
I had a quick question at the bottom. Give me 1 second. I have many policies open. It lists, give me 1 second. That's not it. Okay, on the, there's no page number. On the second page, 10-2024, 10-2025, the salaries of the secretary and attendance officers. I just want to note that this is a volunteer position. There's no salaries associated with the secretary's position. So I'm wondering why this language still remains.
Because it's a model policy coming from our legal, and in the model policies are basically a policy manual that's nationwide. So there are districts throughout the nation that board members do get remunerated. Not in Connecticut, however.
I understand it's a model policy, but this is the Norwich Public School policy, so I would like that to either be remove or, I would like to see that be amended to reflect Connecticut's policy if possible. I think it gives the public some, I guess, it creates a misunderstanding that certain members of the board may,
It's our policy.
it's our policy, we should be able
Okay,
to
we-
amend
we
that.
delete that line.
Right.
Prove it with the deletion of that line.
That statute basically just says that they may be fixed by town, like Mark said. Provided no member of the board shall, it's just referencing Connecticut General Statute 10-225.
That's the legal reference for it.
That they might be paid necessary expenses when performing a duty, so if it doesn't apply, maybe we can take that legal reference out. I don't know, we can ask the.
So it may be the way that the Connecticut statute is written to allow for that in case board members are remunerated in the future, so,
In the future, we'll put it back.
yeah.
This is what our second read is, to get it the way we
Right.
wanna see it. So
Do you
Make
want
it more specific to us.
10-225
Yes.
removed also?
that whole line.
I mean, 224?
Oh, no, I
No,
didn't have an
you-
issue with 224, I just.
225.
So now we need a parliamentarian with that change. The motion was it in its entirety.
So you would need a an amendment, and then we vote on the amendment.
Yep.
And then we come back to the original.
Sounds good to
So,
me.
so you would need a motion. Okay, so I'll make the motion that we delete section 10-225
Under legal reference.
from the model policy of 9122.
I will second that motion. Aaron Daniels.
And then we vote on that.
Motion on the floor in a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
Now we go back to the
original
original
motion.
motion as amended.
Any further discussion on the original motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Action item, discussion and possible action regarding policy 9125, removal of board officers.
Kevin Satani, I will motion to approve the updates to policy number 9125.
A second,
Rick Perry, I'll second.
discussion?
I disagree with him. The talk said it's pretty nebulous about removal of a board member.
No, it's just the office, the officer. So if you're chair, vice chair, secretary, or a
Oh, okay.
subcommittee head,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
it's not,
Not
yeah,
the board
we
itself.
I
cannot
guess I
do,
didn't
we
read that
cannot
right.
remove the member. We can only remove the officer
Okay,
position,
okay.
It is confusing.
because that is a position that we assign ourselves.
Any other further discussion?
Yes, I'm not, all right.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action item regarding policy 9132, committees.
Aaron Daniels, motion to approve the update to policy 9132.
Second,
Mark Kulis, I'll second.
discussion. Hearing none.
No discussion. I have a question regarding the, where it says optional, executive committee. I can find it again.
It's on page 2.
Item 4, paragraph 4.
Regarding, decision-making by the executive committee, which should be the chairperson, vice chairperson, and the secretary. When that, if that ever was to occur, shouldn't the entire board be notified that that is taking place? Shouldn't there be something in there that, so that we maintain transparency?
It's an optional section.
I just have a
Yeah,
clarification.
but if it did happen, I mean, Amber.
Are you saying like if as a board, we decide to establish that executive committee, that we shouldn't all be notified that that committee currently exists? Or is it like when that committee, if the board and the vice chair and the secretary decides to meet, the full board should be notified of that meeting? I'm just trying to.
I think, Christine, I think that the full board would have to vote on whether or not to establish an executive committee.
But
That's
it
what I mean,
already
there's nothing-
exists.
Go ahead.
It already exists. It already exists. It,
But I mean, shouldn't there be something about that they should inform all of us that they're
That they are
meeting?
meeting.
they do, and
They do, but
they
it
do,
doesn't say.
but they don't have, that's just it. It's not, the only one time that they meet is once a month at this thing called agenda setting.
Yeah, just for
That's-
that.
that
They might
is-
meet for something else, right, Al?
If they are meeting for something else, then
They should.
that's a just like any other meeting, it will be properly announced.
But that's what I mean, it doesn't say anything about it being announced, about us being aware of them meeting. I would think that would be included, that's all.
The superintendent shall notify all board members of committee meetings.
Committee meetings, yes, step through.
And if it has to be noticed under FOI rules,
Yeah, I would think so.
then it would be noticed under FRI rules, depending on the subject matter. So the board would be notified in that manner,
I just wanna make sure that's
the
clear.
board and the public.
Like,
Right.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action item regarding policy 9132, I'm sorry. 9200, transaction of business.
Aaron Daniels, motion to approve the update to policy 9200.
Need a second?
Kevin Satani, I will second the motion.
Discussion.
I have a question. Letter D, it says the board shall concern itself with questions of educational policy and not with administrative details concerning the public schools operation. I just need a little bit of clarity on that. Like, what does that exactly mean?
Where are you at?
On
Letter D.
letter D,
D, okay, I'm sorry, I thought it should be.
So that's already in the policy. The only thing they're changing is instead of the districts, they're just changing it concerning the public schools.
No, I
So-
understand that, but just me
we-
seeing it now, I just need some clarification, like,
we
Considering
establish
what we've been going
policy,
through.
we don't establish things like who we're gonna hire or discipline of employees other than the superintendent below that level.
We don't do personnel
no,
scheduling.
I get that, but I just wanna make sure that it, like,
Well, that's the difference
it
between.
says concern itself with, so I can ask questions about education policy, but I can't ask questions about administrative details? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, we can direct it to the superintendent. That's the superintendent's purview. We're not supposed to be directly involved in
Well,
the
no, I mean, I
administrative
understand that. I just wanna make sure that when I'm talking to people and people are coming up to me and talking to me, that I'm not breaking a rule.
Right.
Unofficially, because it's a little confusing to me on that. Like, I need to know exactly
Well-
where I'm allowed to talk to administrators about issues that they've been going through without crossing the line of administrative I need some clarification.
Can you just give me an example of a question that might be posed to you that?
I don't know, just like before, when they were coming to me about issues and I was.
think I can help with that. So we can listen to anybody. And that can inform your thoughts, your positions on things, but the board should be acting as one body and one voice through the chairperson for making public statements. Or if it's something that has to do with what the superintendent should be doing, dealing with the day-to-day operations of the business, then we as a board would direct those things to the superintendent. So you do have the ability to listen to people, to be informed, to understand what's going on, and then bring that back, speak about it when it's appropriate at our meetings, and inform the superintendent if that's appropriate to do.
All right, yeah, but that,
I mean, we can definitely clarify, but as Amber mentioned, this has always been a thing for the board, but we can definitely clarify it.
Al.
Go ahead, Al.
The best place to look is back to the little piece that we read right before public comment. That's where we are the other 350 days of the year when we're not in this meeting. They can talk to us, but
But we can't do anything
we
about
can't,
it.
we can't change it. We have to come through our administrator because they're.
yeah, but do you realize that the administrator I was supposed to be going to wasn't listening because it was about her?
And that's why that's why it had to get bumped up to us. That's why we're here.
All right, so I basically
Yeah.
just wanna cover my
Yeah.
butt
Yeah.
to make sure that cause I'm not gonna stop talking to people.
Absolutely.
The people like me, the people talk to
Absolutely.
me, they feel that they can trust me and I'm not gonna stop that, but I just wanted to make sure what exactly.
Say
So-
if someone comes up to you with, say, a busing issue, say, I am not directly involved in busing, but I can direct you to the person who is. So you would
Yes,
address
I have-
them to
that's what I've
Maria
been
or
doing.
to Bob. or
So-
that-
But before, it was a little, our hands were tied because the person I'm supposed to be going to is the person.
Exactly, when it's at the
Who
top,
it was
you have
about
to
and she
go
wasn't.
above them, and
And
we
you-
are above them, and if we're not, and if you, just so you know, if you're not getting satisfaction in this body, there's a body above us that you can go to.
I know, it's the
So-
Connecticut State Board of
exactly,
Education,
so-
and I've already spoken to them.
So, yes,
Yeah, so again, it's also part of the chain of command as well. You know, Mark, put it perfectly. Anything dealing with transportation, we go to Maria. You know, anything dealing with the curriculum would go to Jamie. So it's this.
I guess I
Yeah.
just was confused by the administrative word in there. In details, I wanted to make sure that I was still able to have, if they're coming to me, I can still,
Yeah, if a
and I'm
parent,
not gonna be like, all of a sudden slammed on
Mhm.
because I answered someone's coming up to me asking.
right,
Okay.
just remember,
So that was just something that came up to me when I was reading it.
All right.
and just, and just for all the Board of Education members, again, and we heard this during our orientation as well. Don't go out and try to be the hero that you can be able, as an individual, can be able to solve all the issues regarding certain aspects of Norwich Public Schools. So if a concerned community member or parent comes up to you and say, I have an issue with the busing issue, just direct them, okay, I can give you a contact information, so you could talk to Maria, and if you're not satisfied with Maria's answers, then we'll bump it up to the next chain of command, so it will just go like that.
I know, but
Yeah,
I guess
that's
my biggest concern is our chain of command doesn't seem to be that effective. Because emails were coming in and there only seemed to be a few people who were actually upset about what they were hearing and not taking it seriously. So I wanna make sure that we don't ever put our staff in that position again, where they're not able to come to the people who they feel.
Right.
I don't care what people think about me. I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna say what's true to my heart, and I'm the only person, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I'm not worried about judgments.
Mhm.
To me, I just wanna make sure that we're able to continue to hear the staff and make sure that the staff is protected and,
Agreed.
Kevin, I appreciated that statement around the chain of command. I just note, at least from what I do, I only have one staff member that reports to me. So if there's a concern, if there's an issue that gets sent to me directly, I forward it directly to the superintendent to address. It's not my job to triage. At least I don't believe it is.
Thank you. Correct.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action regarding policy 9250, reimbursement of board members' expenses.
Aaron Daniels, motion to approve update to policy 9250.
Mark Kulos, a second.
Discussion?
I just had the same comment, the legal reference, on page 2, the salaries of secretaries and attendance officers. It just, would not delete it as well. Thank you.
Right, well, that's a statutory. That's a Connecticut statute. We can't
She doesn't
delete
want
the
it in there.
Connecticut statute.
She doesn't want it in there. In the legal references, she does not want it in there.
Oh,
That's below the line, isn't it? Yeah.
It is
Before it
below
was
the line?
in the policy. This isn't in the policy. This is just a reference.
It's a reference, shouldn't it
reference.
stay because they use that?
Right.
It's up.
There might be other things in
Okay.
10-225 that do apply.
Okay,
There is no salary form, sadly.
right.
okay.
That's
I will
just,
withhold that one.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action item number 9313, formulation, adoption, amendment, or deletion of administrative regulations. Motion on the floor?
Aaron Daniels, move to approve update to policy 9313.
Kevin Satani, I will second the motion.
Discussion?
I just wanna, maybe I'm missing something, but so are we not having meetings on the second Tuesday anymore? Cause that's crossed out. So I'm just,
This is eight.
We're still on
Eight
You
point
missed
eight.
it,
8.2.
yeah.
That's the next one.
That's the
oh,
next
how
one.
did I click on the?
Yeah, so we're dealing with formulations, adoption.
How did I skip that? Hold on. Sorry. I got ahead of myself.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I think it was either the last, not the last one, but the policy before. There's really no reference to the Norwich Public Schools in the actual language here. It's kind of like a blanket. So I'm wondering if that is by choice or if that was a deletion.
Which one are you talking about?
The formulation, adoption and amendment or deletion of
The one that
administrative.
we're working.
Yes, it's just,
It
doesn't-
just says blank board.
Yes, it just says blank.
Again, this is a model thing from Shipman and Goodman, so you just punch in whatever
Norwich
board, so it will say Norwich,
Okay, so well,
Norwich
I can
Public,
say that, okay.
Norwich
I'm
Public
just-
Schools
I
Board.
just wanna make sure I'm
Anytime there's
voting
like a
on
blank.
what needs to be.
Right.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action item for 9321, time and place and notice of meetings.
So that was where my question is. I see how it is like crossed out, but there's nothing to fix it, so
What
are
happens is
the
when
meetings
they-
are still staying the same?
No, when they run the red line, it picks up anything that's not in their model. So we know that ours is the second Tuesday. So
And at
I'm not
5:30.
gonna take
So
that
can,
out.
so can we add, should we add those now? Since we're creating our policy?
I mean, it's just an update to the current policy, so I'm not gonna change that when I update the policy.
Some things redlined that shouldn't be redlined.
It's just picking up anything that's not exactly specific to their model policy, but we're obviously not gonna take that out. I mean,
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure, cause I was like, wait a minute, now when are we having the meeting?
Oh, so the second Tuesday is not a deletion, but it's,
It's actually our current policy, it
Okay.
just doesn't fit with their model.
oh, yeah, all right. I was confused about that one.
Yeah, so that's actually our current language.
Without changing the date, should we?
Can I just make a comment? Like, there is a new article, well, A is that the Board of Education shall set a calendar of regular meetings for ensuring. So when we decide to set the calendar, we can decide on the time of the meeting. I think that covers it, but
Works for me.
at least from what I'm reading.
Right.
So it can be changed each
Yeah.
year is what you're saying?
Yes.
We decide, and that's fine too, it gives you some more options.
Oh, yeah, normally it shall be.
Yeah.
Doesn't say that we must.
Okay.
That's right.
That provides more flexibility and peace of mind.
Right.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, wait, I have one more question, and here, I'm sorry. It said, that there was a time limit for a meeting. I never even heard of a time limit for a meeting. Is there an actual time limit for one of our meetings to get like adjourned and then rescheduled? Cause that's what I was reading. And I may be looking on the wrong.
Where are you looking at?
I was looking at my notes and I'm.
It looks like paragraph A on the page 3. The top of the page,
again, that's their suggestion. We
Okay.
don't have to put that in
it's
there.
like the second line, shall adjourn no later than blank unless extended to a time certain by 2/3 vote of the board members present.
And right now, that time is
I
breakfast
see it,
tomorrow.
okay.
Okay.
We don't have a time limit.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, I never heard of a time limit. Are they trying to establish a time limit now? Have it
There's not a
talked
lot
too
of
much?
districts policies, like Preston had one 10 PM and every meeting they'd have to vote to extend it past 10 PM. It would go on forever.
You have to clear out for school in the morning. That's it.
Well, they started much later too.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
I say if we're here past 10 PM.
Action item on policy 9322, public meetings and executive sessions.
Aaron Daniels, motion to approve the update to policy 9322.
Krista Stacy, I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action item on 9323, construction and posting of agenda.
Kevin Satani, I'll make the motion to approve the updates to policy number 9323.
Pulos, I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in
Oh,
favor?
I had a quick question. Okay, so Article B, I'm trying to understand that piece. So as board members, we can submit agenda about 72 hours before it's posted. Is that what, am I reading that correctly or? Okay, and then for number C, is that requirement, like if the agenda has been posted, right? You will need at least 3 board members in order to add an additional agenda to. Any,
Sorry.
no, just wanna get some clarity for item C. This is like after the 72,
I have that down too.
right?
It's very confusing.
So I don't think it's as much after 72 as it's saying that any member can suggest to something to the board chair that something be put on the agenda. That has to be done no later than 72 hours before the agenda is posted, which is usually Friday afternoon.
That I
So
get
before
for
Wednesday.
B.
But I don't think there's a
See.
timetable there. It's just saying that if at least 3 board members want an item to be put on the agenda, then it's not an option. It has to be put on the agenda.
Okay,
Right,
Thank
it's,
you.
the 72 hours comes from the fact that under FOI, you must post your agenda for a regular meeting at least 48 hours in advance, and any special meeting 24 hours in advance. So this is to at least be in advance of the FOI deadlines required by the state.
now I get it. Thank you.
Okay.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And so voted. Discussion and possible action item in policy number 9325.01, quorum and voting procedures.
Greg Perry, make a motion that we pass policy, that we approve policy 9325.
Kevin Satani, I'll second the motion.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
No, I am saying no. I have a question.
Yeah.
And I'm blind, so, for A, it says no member can vote on a question in which the board member has a direct personal or, I can't say that word, pecuniary, I think, interest. What could that possibly be?
Usually when people recuse themselves, the item is something that they receive some benefit from.
Okay,
If they vote on that.
Like money.
like
like-
monetary.
Yeah.
Contract.
So if we're hiring a contractor and you're a part owner of that contracting firm or own shares in that particular company, you know, you're a majority stockholder or something, or, you know, even in just a few
Well,
stocks.
your family owns the company.
Or your family might own the company.
No, I
Yeah.
guess I was just curious because.
That's all.
I'm happy you caught, I had a question about it too. I've asked this before about having union members on the board. I'm still in a quandary about that. Because I don't understand how you can represent both the teachers and the taxpayers fairly if you're privy to information.
He's an elected official though.
No, pardon?
The-
I know, but some people were elected before they were put in those positions.
I don't represent the teachers in this district.
But you still might be privy to information because you're a union rep that privy to some information regarding things that are going on, like what we've been going through, actually.
That's considered a
We
monitoring
have teachers in this district who actually serve on other boards of education in other
I don't
towns.
care about other, I care about what's here.
Well,
You brought it up though.
the syllogism is
I don't
insane.
care about other
Well,
towns.
that's- but hold-
I
hold
care
on,
about,
hold on.
excuse me, everybody's talking at once. I just think that there is a conflict of interest.
Again,
And because if you can, you are gonna know some information that we're not gonna know, that might make it, that might lend itself to the decision that's being made. Whether it's during union negotiations, whatever.
and I can help,
Others
I can
won't
help,
know.
I can help.
Go ahead.
And the answer to the question is, that is possibly a reason. But that's why the policy's in place. So at the time of that question to come up, that's when you would bring it up. Sounds like you want that to be in the policy, that there might be a reason for someone to recuse themselves. It's in the policy. So that's what we're voting, that's all we're voting on. Your question is better for another time. It has nothing to do with whether we like this policy or not. Again, it sounds like you like this policy because it lets you have that option.
So can that be added for future discussion then?
And what?
Because you said the time to discuss it is out of.
Yeah, that when it will, when it comes up in an issue.
If there's an issue that you think that I should recuse myself, then bring that up when that's the case, and when that is happening.
Exactly.
And then we will have that discussion.
We'll have that discussion and probably
Right.
a vote.
Within just us. But what about everything that we've already been going through?
What about it?
That's
Again,
where I
no
see-
votes have been taken to change anything,
I mean, what we've done
but no votes,
personnel wise.
no votes have been taken to change anything.
Okay.
Especially since everything was unanimous in the votes that we've already taken. One vote, one way or another, wouldn't have
Right.
mattered anyway.
No, I got it.
So right now, everything's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we just wanted to ask a question just in case.
Yeah, no, that was it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Possible action item on 9330 minutes.
Kevin Satani, I move to motion to approve updates to policy number 9330.
Aaron Daniels, second that motion.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Discussion and possible action item on 9270, conflict of interest, prohibited employments.
For this one, I did put in the policy model and the current one, just because.
Saw that.
Yeah, sometimes the model is.
Need a motion on the floor?
Aaron Daniels, motions to delete current policy 9270 and replace with the Shipman and Goodman model policy, conflict of interest.
Second.
Kevin Satani, I'll second the motion.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. So
Are
voted.
you allowed to leave, like add a, like vote, but have something put on the record?
What do you mean?
You mean?
No, as far as occupations, that I myself do feel there's a conflict. And,
You don't wanna be specific. You wanna leave yourself as many options as possible, again, for future reference. When an item comes up, that's when you bring it up.
okay.
Discussion on model policy code for the board of members. Board members, discussion and possible action item on model policy, code of conduct for board members.
Aaron Daniels, motion to approve model policy 9000 series code of conduct for board members.
You see the number on it.
This is a new model policy, that's why.
It's gonna be in the 9,000 group. That's all it's saying.
So it will be numbered. Markulis, I'll second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Committee reports. We have a budget and expenditures committee. No. City council ad hoc, no. Negotiation committee.
Negotiation committee.
We have an action
Yes,
item.
we have the, will be an executive session for discussion of the,
Ratification of the tentative agreement. Is that
of
what-
the, yes, the ratification of the tentative agreement between, the custodians and maintainers contract.
Thank you.
So they did approve and
Policy committee, they have the report here. School building committee.
Can I have a question for the policy committee?
Yep.
My question is regarding, I'm just wondering why, all these policies that we've just reviewed, I didn't say anything about the vice chairman, Kevin.
So these policies, yes, we went over all the board policies already, but these are just new revisions from the state that has trickled down to our level.
Right.
And then our attorney from Shipman and Goodwin looks over them and then presents them to the policy. So that's why we're going over these 9,000, just because there's some revision.
Right, can you by any chance remind me of what our policy is regarding the vice chairman?
It says in the absence of the chairperson, the vice chairperson shall assume and carry out the duties and responsibilities of the
Not that part, sorry. No, how they're selected,
How the what?
how they're selected, how the vice chairman is selected.
They're voted on.
No, but it's not, yes, but when we, okay.
Who does
No,
the voting?
I want to suggest a resolution
board.
to that. I want to suggest a policy change to that. So I don't know if we should have it as new business on the next agenda or whatever. Suggesting a policy change. I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Think you'd have to bring it to the policy
Yeah,
committee?
we could go to the
That's what I
policy
mean.
committee.
So
Maybe
would I say
email-
it now?
We can just talk about that.
Yeah, and you
Like
can
right
make a note
now.
of that, Amber. Thank you.
Okay, so you want me to tell you right now, right?
What is your proposal?
I'm suggesting for discussion, is having the chairman and the vice chairman, members of different parties.
What?
You don't understand that?
Well, yeah,
To have
it's-
people from
it's-
different parties as chairman and vice chairman.
All right.
That's fine.
No, okay,
So
just for discussion.
Sure, absolutely.
Vice chairman.
In a way
from
to-
And
two-
chairman,
two-
just to balance it
Make more
out, checks and
transparent.
balances, transparency.
So a vice chairman for
Transparency.
Democrats, vice chairman for.
Transparency.
No. She says the chair would be one
One party
party.
and the vice would be
Vice
one
chair would
party,
be the
so
other
it would be
party.
more of
I
a
see, I
unity working together besides the party.
We can look at the charter.
Yeah.
Yes.
so I was wondering, I don't know the legal
We'll
aspects.
ask,
School building committee.
As far as I know, it was just we're in the process of hiring the the construction manager. So I think the RFPs have gone out and believe their responses, we'll be getting the responses back very shortly this week or next week. Do you remember, Christine?
No, I honestly don't. We both missed that meeting. So
Yeah.
I'm awaiting news from Mr. Betancourt, of course.
So I know we're having a meeting on the 17th. So I think we'll be getting the responses back then. And then I think we have so much time to go through it and then to set a date for the
For
interviews.
the interviews. And right now, it's just bill paying. We keep getting the small bills that we have to, okay, you know, to, for them to be funded for all these different little things that they're performing. That are just basic to a building project, but
Right.
next week will be
The
another.
construction
step in the right
managers
direction.
that we hire, they'll be in on the design process also because they probably have knowledge of production schedules and what's out there, material deliveries and how those are going.
And I believe that's the last big piece, and then we'll be
Christine,
Right.
what was the
steam ahead.
RFP for? I'm sorry, I just want to put it in the minutes.
This
The
is for the
The
construction
construction
manager.
manager.
We'll be hiring all the subcontractors and, you know, we'll start getting at the
Okay, thank
nuts and
you.
bolts a little more.
And we're not sure at this point whether we're gonna have one or two, depending if we're gonna hire one firm for one school or one for the both schools that we're proceeding with right now.
Integrated daycare center, charter school.
All right, so the integrated day met about 3 weeks ago. So I have a little bit of old news, but they are still, I know, with my children going there, dealing with 2 buses that are consistently late, 4 o'clock or later each day. A lot of families have been pressing the bus company for solutions with this. So that's an issue citywide. They have switched the process for all school and learning buddies this year so that it's on an alternating rotation. So all school is every other week instead of every week. They hired a new pre-K through 5 counselor. It's a new position in the school. Recently completed a fundraiser selling Mom's Flowers. They were all sold out. It was very successful. I had the dollar amount, but I don't have that with me right now. There is a vaccine clinic tomorrow at the school from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and that is open to everyone, whether or not you attend that school or not, or have family that attends there. There is a new position as a parent coordinator that was started this year. It's a 1-year position, kind of trial, with the goal of increasing parent involvement, assisting with event organizing, and moving the parental involvement information online. So hopefully that'll be successful. And finally, they are waiting till the end of the month at the meeting, it was announced that the breakfast and lunch numbers are up significantly in terms of participation there, but did not have a full month of data, so can't say by exactly how much at this point.
Can I ask a question? Vaccine clinic, are you saying for flu vaccine?
I believe it's flu and COVID.
Thank you.
And I think you can make an appointment at Uncas Health and go to their office over on West Thames Street. I believe it's Thursdays, and they will do the flu and COVID, and I think RSV also. I think local pharmacies too have those vaccines available.
Yeah, I don't know if RSV is included in this one. I didn't take good enough notes at the time.
All right, NFA's liaison, our meeting conflicted with their meeting last month, so I did not attend. And learn
Their meeting, we have not had a meeting since our last meeting. Our meeting's this upcoming Thursday.
Okay, thank you. The budget report, enrollment report, and the personnel report are all part of your package. I need a motion to enter executive session.
All right. Just a quick comment on the budget report to Bob. So approximately 50% of our budget's already spoken for?
If it's encumbered in that line item, that means there's a PO out there that commits the funds. What we do periodically is review the encumbrances, and I'll give you an example. If a student make something up, was going to Hope Academy and it was $10,000 a month for 10 months, that'd be $100,000 encumbered. If that student withdraws or moves, someone needs to go in and review that encumbrance to remove it so that you know that money's been freed up. So each department is responsible for reviewing their encumbrances, and they get friendly reminders from my office to do so. But that doesn't include encumbrances for payroll. You'll see there's nothing payroll, that's something we're working on in our adjusting the system so that we can encumber payroll expenses.
Okay, and this report that you have, that doesn't include the shortfalls of about a half a
No,
million?
that's as of the date, I ran that as of October sixth, so that's current as of October sixth.
Okay.
I received the bills from NFA today.
Alrighty. So it's already old news.
Executive session.
Okay. Pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-200, members of the Board of Education move to go into executive session for discussion of collective bargaining strategy and negotiations. The board may invite Acting Superintendent Susan Lassard, Acting Assistant Superintendent Jamie Bender, Business Administrator Robert Serpensky, Director of Student Services Lisa Hughes, and Amber Ritigliano to participate in some or all of this executive session discussion.
Aaron Daniels, second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. We are now in executive session at 7:40 PM. All right, we're out of executive session at 8:03 PM. Motion?
Aaron Daniels moves to approve the custodians union contract.
I second that motion.
Is there any discussion? How many years is this contract, by the way? 3. Thank you. When does it expire?
It was in there, hold on, I'm sorry.
Heather, were you the second on the
Yeah.
motion?
Yep, there was.
See, it is
July
23, 24, 24, 25, and 25, 26.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion for adjourn, oh, you want to discuss that?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so like I said, the CABES CAP convention is November 17th and 18th, Friday and Saturday, Mystic Marriott. The Friday is the bigger day. That's the full day, includes lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's the trade show. They have probably 100 exhibitors there, and they give out their little goodies. Saturday is a half a day, just breakfast and lunch, and a reduced agenda. I think there's 2 sessions on that day. I have the material here. If we sign up, Amber, did you say that you sign up by a certain date, it's reduced to?
Sometimes there's an early bird rate. We are members now, so they'll get the member rate.
Yeah, so the early bird date that
I think
I have
passed,
printed
like
here
you
was,
said, yeah.
if we get it before put registration in before the 13th of October, it's like a $50 off per registration.
Yeah, we still have time.
And 2 things. Even if you, in this upcoming election, don't go, your name can be transferred to the person that does win your seat. So that's how I got to my first one many moons ago.
Was it worth it now?
It has and that was the second part. It is always worth it. All these deep questions that you have, these are the people that can answer them. We've got attorneys, we've got longtime superintendents, we've got longtime teachers. And usually they're not from your district, so you can ask your question with no preconceived notions. They're just listening to what you are telling them, and you get your questions answered.
Is this a budgeted item?
Believe it is.
Yes, I believe
Well,
so.
if it was or wasn't, someone would have had to told me to budget it.
Typically, we have 3 or 4 people every year go, but I don't know if you.
Yeah, I wouldn't not go because of the budget item in the scheme of things.
It's a
we're talking
very
about
small-
$90
Yeah,
million
yeah, I just wanna
at
know.
this point in the year.
All right,
Going
motion
to
for
other
adjournment.
CAPE things, right?
That's usually the only one we attend. Sometimes they do have a summertime one, but we usually don't make that one.
Motion to adjourn.
Yep,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
I have the material here if people want to look it over. It's also available online.